Howdy, guys, and welcome to the overnight feed recaps of night number 6 from inside the Big Brother house, and welcome to Cliff Notes. All right, we had a veto ceremony yesterday. Lots of times after the veto ceremony has taken place, house guests tend to relax a little bit, enjoy their last bit of time in the backyard, not really start their campaigning for another day or two. So sometimes Monday's a little bit more chill. We had that a little bit, not quite as much going on as that big explosive weekend we had, but still stuff to talk about. And I'm here to do it for y'all. All right. So first of all, as a little bit of a refresher, remember Daniel's on the block. Originally we had Michael and Terrence nominated. Did I say Daniel was on the block? Daniel's HOH. We had Michael and Terrence nominated for eviction. Michael won the veto competition on Saturday. Of course he used it yesterday. Yeah, why wouldn't he? So he pulled himself off the block. Daniel at that point in time places Taylor on the block, which we expected was going to happen based on all the conversations and such that had occurred. So Taylor is now on the block. Apparently, we didn't see the actual ceremony. They're saving that for the episode. But apparently, Daniel said it's because he had people tell him that Taylor was rubbing him the wrong way. It sounds like he was not specific at all. Just throwing out this fact that she'd rubbed people the wrong way, and therefore he was putting her up. It sounds like she handled it pretty well at the time. But again, there was no details thrown out with that. So afterwards, we do finally have a conversation, which should have taken place a few days earlier, but we had a conversation taking place between Taylor and Monte about exactly what was said, how this stuff got blown up the way it did, and eventually Taylor saying, "Look, I was just telling you that that you probably ought to talk to Paloma because the girls were getting nervous about the guys getting close to each other, and I just thought, it'd be worth talking to Paloma, calm some of her fears and everything." And Monty says, eventually Monty kind of says, it's a miscommunication. I thought based on that, you were saying that they were coming after me, and I just misunderstood. It was just all a mistake. Yeah, I'm not really buying it. I think a target was identified. Monty pushed it. Paloma pushed it. And, now they've got it set a little bit. People seem a little bit more cool with Taylor. Course, now she's already on the block against Terrence. The deed is already done, right? But at least they did have the conversation and talk about it. Monty's blaming it all on Paloma at this point. He's throwing her under the bus a little bit, saying, "Look, Paloma's just a firecracker. I mentioned it to her, and she just ran with it. I didn't know she's gonna be such a firecracker on it." Well, he kind of left out the fact that he spent a lot of time himself pushing how horrible it was that Taylor had lied to him, and really helped convince Daniel and a lot of others that Taylor needs to go. So Monty is definitely downplaying his part of the conversation, as he probably should from just a pure survival standpoint. Because of the twist, it seems, of course, we got some time left, but it seems right now that Taylor still is going to be who's voted out. The agenda is now changed. Was it Pooch? I can't remember who Monty was talking to, but someone was saying, "Look, you've got to get Taylor out now, because if you don't, Taylor's coming after you, Monty." So now there's a whole nother reason to vote her out. I still think Taylor's going home, but because of this twist with the backstage passes and all that, if Taylor was to stay, Monty is trying to do a little damage control at this point in time. So we've got that. Little conversation. Again, should have happened a little bit earlier. All right, we've got Brittany and Michael in the storage room. Brittany has had some conversations with the girls, and based on that, she's telling Michael, saying, "Look, Alyssa and Paloma and Amira, they're good with you, Michael. They don't have any issue. They're not going for you. They're going for Pooch and Turner. That's who they want out." At which point, Michael is very happy. He's dancing around a little bit. They're doing a little storage room dance. But Brittany basically passing on that Pooch and Turner easily could be the targets for the girls going forward. Brittany then takes this information a little bit further, not with Michael, but she tells Pooch in the storage room the same thing, that basically, hey, Amira wants to go after you, just, And it's funny the way she did it. She was trying to be subtle by saying, there's some girls that are after you. And what name did you throw out earlier? Oh yeah, Amira. Well, I'm not denying or confirming that Amira may come for you, but wink, wink, wink. So she's telling Pooch this information. And the reason she's doing it, she is so worried about this twist coming up, so worried that somehow Pooch is going to have some say on who gets evicted or battling to see who stays in the game. So she's telling Pooch, saying, "Look, there's three of us on this block, and I've told you I've got your back, and can I prove it to you? Let me just prove it to you." And she's doing so by telling him about Amira wanting to go after him. That's her way of doing it. The other thing she tells him is that, hey, the other thing too, of the three of us on there, who do you think's alone and who do you think is teamed up? And basically tells him that Alyssa and Paloma are working together and are tight together. So Pooch takes all that information and says, "Thank you. I know you've got my back. I appreciate it so much," and walks out the door. And what does Pooch do with that information? Nah, he goes right over immediately afterwards and tells Monty and he tells Amira as well what Brittany said. So the secret is out. Pooch is telling Amira, saying, "Look, I know we're tight," or maybe he's telling Monty. But he says, I know I'm tied with Amira. I know she's not going for me. Brittany is lying. Brittany just made this up to try to provide some protection for herself. He's not buying it. And as a result, he's thrown Brittany under the bus and kind of stayed on the ship with Amira and Monty as well. Unfortunate for Brittany, right? Brittany kind of took a chance giving this information out, hoping it would work. And it's tough because as soon as Pooch leaves, Brittany's kind of jumping around saying, "Oh, I hope that worked. I hope that worked." Well, no, it absolutely backfired on you, Brittany. And we're running the risk at this point in time, just as we saw Taylor get targeted based on something that was claimed to have been said that, not quite there. Now we got Brittany with the same situation. We've got Pooch now at this point talking to Monty and saying, "Look, I want Brittany out. I want Brittany out for lying about Amira. I just can't put up with that." So Pooch is saying if he gets HOH, that he really wants to go after Brittany and Indy are the two people he'd put up. But it really sounds like Brittany would be the key target. Again, I think this could potentially lead to another Taylor type situation where one little statement that's someone's trying to help someone else, and instead that receptor of that information turns on the insider and blows their game out of the water. Again, on Taylor's standpoint, as we're finding out now, everything is exaggerated. What was said, Brittany actually did come to Pooch and give him this information, but he blew her off. He doesn't trust her, and so now Brittany's in a little bit of world of hurt. Now, the other thing too, Brittany did basically talk about this girl, at least the two girls working together. So she runs a risk of not having just Amira mad at her, but Paloma and Alyssa and everyone else. Amira is telling Jasmine and Brittany later. Actually, let me jump back a little bit. Amira hears this from Pooch, and she's upset because she knows it's Brittany that said it, but they're trying to figure out how she can tell Brittany without saying it was Pooch who did it. So she and Jasmine are talking a little bit. She and Pooch are talking a little bit. Eventually, while Brittany is in talking to Jasmine and Amira, Amira says, "Look, we girls, we got to stay tight. I mentioned about wanting Pooch out, and word has already gotten back that Pooch heard about that and is questioning me on it." And she's saying, "I only told two people, and that was you, Brittany, and you, Jasmine, and word has already gone back." She's kind of downplaying a little bit. She's holding her temper a little bit and not really jumping all over Brittany, even though she knows it was Brittany who did it. So at this point, I think Jasmine leaves, says, "Wasn't me." Brittany saying, "Wasn't me." Amira is pushing, saying, "Look," or not pushing. Amira saying, "Let's just let it go. If we harp on it, it's just going to create a divide. It's going to create issues. I don't want to do that. It's water under the bridge. Let's just move on." But basically, she just wanted Brittany to know that she knew about it, hoping that Brittany shuts that kind of stuff down. And she's saying at least that she just wants to put it behind them and keep on going. Brittany's pushing for more information. She's saying, look, who said this to you? And Amira's saying, yeah, I really don't want to say. And Brittany eventually says, if people aren't giving out names and everything else, it could be that whoever told you that just made it up, just guessed about what maybe your intentions were and just made it up. And Amira says, maybe. She knows that's not the case. And so again, she just wants to drop the whole thing. Amira also tells Brittany, says, look, the alliances are locked in at this point. There's no need to try to start forming new alliances or anything else. The women just need to stick together. And Brittany says, yeah, I got it. All right, later we've got Jasmine and Alyssa and Indy in the bathroom. Alyssa is talking again about this little Brittany issue. She's saying, look, we need to clear the air with Brittany. We need to talk to her about the fact that she spilled the beans on all this stuff and get this worked out. But Indy turned around and says, no, I think everyone just needs to shut the F up and just be a family at this point in time. All right. I'm really growing on Indy. From a gameplay standpoint, I'm not sure if she makes it to the very end. But in terms of just being who she is and being real, I'm just, Indy, I called for her to be the first boot. Well, obviously that's not going to happen. And I'm kind of liking Indy. She kind of said what she thought, just be quiet and move on. Let's forget about this stuff. But we've got Alyssa at that point really pushing the Girls Alliance, saying we got to stick together. This is crazy. We got to make this work. All right, we've got Daniel talking to the cameras as he often does, mentioning the fact that Paloma, he says, Paloma, she's just losing her mind at this point in time. We've kind of seen that Paloma's a little frantic. We'll just leave it at that. But he says Paloma's losing her mind. Now, earlier, Monty had made similar comments about, he called her a firecracker to Taylor, and he has said that, she's kind of trying to do a little too much and all of that. Are the wheels coming off for Paloma? You can't burn at this rate through the whole game. And I just feel like maybe some people are starting to see Paloma as being a little bit of an instigator, maybe talking a little more than she needs to be talking. She needs to dial it back. I don't know if she has that capability, but at this point, Paloma needs to dial it back, let the new HOH get blood on their hands and do what needs to be done. And she just needs to pull back and work with the alliances she's created. I don't know that she's going to do it, but people are starting to notice. People are starting to get a little bit worried about just how much running around and talking that she's doing. But we also have Daniel talking about the alliances that he's got and how he's working on it. And he says that he's sticking with Amira and Nicole, that those are his tightest two, that he really thinks this group of three could do something. And so he's sticking with those three. I think that's a good idea. He mentions a little bit about the Guys Alliance, says, this Guys Alliance, and we've got the Oasis, right? But he's saying, hey, this Guys Alliance, I'll tell him I'm in with him and all of that. But he's making it clear that his true alliance is Amira and Nicole. Those are three strong players. I could see them doing some things in this game. All right. Not only was Daniel talking to the cameras, but we also had Michael talking to the cameras. I love it. Michael won veto. Now he's feeling a little more relaxed, a little less stressed out. He's talking to us as fans, which I always love. And Michael's just blossoming a little bit. Michael is talking to the cameras. He's saying, look, I trust Kyle. I trust Paloma. I trust Amira. Maybe not the three people that I'd want him to say he trusts the most. And it's unfortunate that he doesn't mention Brittany, because I want a Brittany Michael team working together. I think that would be fun to watch. But he does mention Kyle and Paloma and Amira is maybe who he trusts the most. He's afraid. Every season, it seems like you got one or two perpetual pawns. I went through a little bit of that, but he's afraid that he may be kind of this perpetual pawn, or at least that he's going to be used as a pawn maybe next week, over the next few weeks. And he doesn't like that particular position. But one thing, now remember, Michael's a super fan. We even saw in the episode Sunday that he made sure he wasn't the first through the house because superstition, fact that no one in a regular season of Big Brother, US or Canada, has ever won if they're the first one through the door. And so he avoided being the first one through the door. Who was it that noticed it? Was it Daniel? I can't remember. Someone actually noticed it, which is funny. But Michael is the biggest super fan. He mentions twice talking to the cameras that he's actually keeping track of the seconds, the hours, the minutes that they've been in the house. I assume he's doing it for the different competitions as well. He's trying to keep track of that because he's aware that in a lot of these competitions, if there's a tie at the end, the tiebreaker will consist of how many time units has it been since such and such occurred, or how long did such and such occur in certain time units. He's keeping track of it. I love hearing that. I did the same thing. I had everything, how many days we'd been in there by all the different minutes, seconds, hours, different competitions, everything. I never had a tie in any of my games, so it didn't matter. But Michael's prepared. He's to a new level of playing the game. He understands the strategies, I think. It's just a matter of social game. Is he going to be able to play the social game? That's probably his disadvantage at this point in time. But he seems like he's doing a better job of it. No one really, Daniel wants Michael out, but really other than that, it seems like Michael's fitting in. So I'm all for Michael. I hope this continues. All right. These house guests never sleep. I really thought maybe after the veto ceremony, things would chill out and they'd sleep. No. As of 4:00 Big Brother time, we still had Ameerah and Pooch and Turner and Terrence and Joseph all outside, hanging out in the backyard around the hot tub and all that. Not really talking a lot of game, just shooting the bull and all of that. Eventually, I think Joseph and Turner went to bed. As of 5:00, when I start recording this, we still had Pooch and Turner and Ameerah in the bathroom talking a little bit of game about targets and all that, but not really anything worth throwing a lot out right now. But one of the reasons I think they were up, we're told they were losing the yard very first thing this morning. Very typical. Losing the yard at 6:00 in the morning on Tuesday was often the case with my particular season. That tells me they're back on a regular schedule. They're losing the yard because they want to build the set for the HOH competition. But what that also suggests to me, at least, is that they're going to have a fairly standard HOH in the backyard. I don't know how that plays out in terms of this backyard twist, because if there's going to be an extra competition based on one of the VIP girls having to go against, Taylor, if she gets voted out, I don't know if they're building two sets back there, or maybe it's not a competition. Maybe it's a vote. I don't know yet. We're trying to read everything I can to figure out what this twist is, and just don't know yet. I guess we're just going to have to wait till Thursday. As much as I hate to do it, we're going to have to wait till Thursday. So there you go, guys. The main things I think overnight is, one, Monty tries to smooth things out with Taylor. It seems like Taylor, now understanding what was said, is really going through the house and doing double duty about these relationships. Even though, she kind of got it done a dirty to start with, but she's doing extra effort to try to fix these relationships based on what Daniel had said. So that's the first thing. The second thing is Brittany maybe trying to play the game a little harder than she should, giving information to a person that she shouldn't, and now it's coming back to bite her. Brittany could be the target next week based on that. Now, I'm real curious to see what's going to happen if Brittany is saved by America's vote, which I'm kind of thinking is the case. What's that going to tell the house guest? Paloma and Alyssa, when they see Brittany saved, are they going to assume that America's supporting Brittany and not them? Are other people in the house going to, at this point, think, well, maybe the public likes Brittany, and if that's the case, maybe we need to lay off her a little bit? People pay attention to what America says when they get information such as this. So we'll see what happens. All right, guys, I'm going to shut down with that. Y'all have a fantastic, what's today? Tuesday. Y'all have a fantastic Tuesday. I'll be back tomorrow to see what else may have happened overnight in the Big Brother house. Until then, SKD 143. Cheers, my friends. Bye.